do next? What's the first step? What do you do? It's simple. Just give us a call. At Excite Media Los Angeles, we specialize in professional website development. For over 14 years, we have created well over 1,000 custom online experiences. From small businesses to enterprise, we can handle projects of any size. Need a mobile app? Want your site to do something unique? Looking to revamp and revive your existing site? We've got you covered. For more information, visit our website at xmla.com or call us at 818-985-2464. Excite Media Los Angeles, Web Development.
The time is upon us. We've heard his bellows from afar. Can you hear him? He's approaching. And what say you? Is that you? Hello there! The fog separates and he appears from the shadows. He transforms before our very eyes and walks upon the earth. He is the Crow.
All mics. Hey, there we go. I have to hit the all mics one. You know, it's always fun when they change all the labeling on everything and I forget to read it. Yeah. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Eat Crow, or as I always say, that's not just a suggestion, it's an order. Yes. So this week, I am pleased to have live in studio with me an old friend and very talented, wonderful artist, singer, songwriter, amazing guitar player, and as I say, all-around badass. Please welcome Miss Allie Handel.
Thanks, Brian.
How are you doing? Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I appreciate it.
Sure. I'll come anywhere that people call me a badass.
Really? Because they say that a lot in prison, so, you know.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, well, could be exciting. Could be a good time. More on that later. So, as a matter of fact, you and I do go way back, and I was trying to remember when you and I first met. I know that you were playing guitar some. I didn't know that you necessarily had the aspirations to sort of take it where you have, which has been quite far. So,
Thank you, yeah.
I
did have the aspirations, but I didn't have the belief in myself.
Oh.
So I dated every guitar player that I knew, which is how
well,
we
not
know
everyone.
each other. Well, okay, almost everyone. But yeah, I dated them until I finally decided that was kind of bullshit. And can I say that?
Yes, no,
it's
you can,
internet, right?
Yes,
it's cool.
Yes, we can do whatever the FCC we want.
All right, excellent. Yeah. Until I was like, I'm not really happy dating them so much. I want to be them.
Right.
So I finally got up the courage to, follow the dream myself.
Right. You got bit by the bug and went with it. Mm-hmm. So what was, when you finally decided that, when did you really start writing? And have you ever done like a full-on band thing, or has it always been more of a
solo? Oh, yeah. I've been doing a full-on band thing for, it's solo in that I write everything, but then I play with a band. I play lead guitar, and like my last show in LA, that was a full-on rock band thing. Yeah.
But just in terms of, but it's always been like your project rather than band and you were the guitar player in it.
Yeah, well, the first couple of bands that I was in Los Angeles, when I wasn't quite as experienced as I am now. I was just the guitar player, the lead guitar player, background vocalist. Okay. And I started then writing. It took me a long time to start writing, but now it's really my favorite thing to do.
Sure. And we will be playing some of your music in just a little bit.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I started writing when I was working with a singer who I just thought had an incredible voice, a real Janis Joplin type of thing. Mm-hmm. And we were working on a song together, and I kept giving her very, very specific feedback on how to sing the lines.
I bet that went over.
Yeah, it turns out singers don't like that so much. So she's like, if you know what you want, why don't you just do it yourself? And I was like, well, maybe I should try that. But it took me a long time and a lot of work to get to the point where I could actually sing in a way that I could stand to hear myself and listen to myself.
That's a weird thing, where it's like, the first time you really start to hear your own voice and you're going, God, that's me?
Yeah.
And at first you're going, oh, God, that's me.
Well, and especially with this in the speaking voice, too, actually.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah, actually, like when you hear yourself in headphones, it's like, this doesn't sound like that in the room, does it?
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah.
That's cool. And so, and at that point, things just sort of began to take off from there, or how have things progressed? Because clearly they have.
Yeah, well, the first band that I was in that was kind of serious, we recorded our demos back at the old A&M studios, which was a really neat experience for me.
Sure.
And I was with that band for a few years and got some really good experience just playing with really great players. I actually met my percussionist, David Leach, back then, which was, it was in the mid 90s. So it was a while back. And then I started writing my own stuff and kind of branched out to my own solo stuff in about 98 and released my first record in 2000.
Cool. And what was that called?
That was called Dirty Little Secret. And that was a full rock experience.
Cool.
Yeah. So, so it kind of went from there. Once I had the record, I contacted all the gear companies because I had been going to the NAMM show.
Right.
Every year. Actually, I think since the very early 90s. And I had, been meeting people. I've never been too shy about kind of meeting people and making friends. So when I finally had a record and I play all the guitars on this here, I was one of the few female guitar players who was, not a singer-songwriter, quote, guitar player.
Right. I really want to be Joan Baez.
Yeah, no, I really didn't want to be Joan. I wanted to be Jimmy Page. I still want to be Jimmy Page.
I can somehow see somebody coming in and going, hey, you want to do Lilith Fair? And you're going, no.
Actually, I would have liked to do Lilith Fair. Actually, that would have been probably a good career move. But nobody asked me at the time, unfortunately. Yeah, well.
Yes, you hit up gear companies, and I think it should be, you're actually endorsed by Fender, Taylor Guitars, D'Addario Strings, and Dunlop. So a couple of no-name small companies there.
Yeah. It's been really great, and, it's definitely been helpful. For sure.
So, been able to do much, did you do much touring with the first record, or?
Yeah, I did by myself, though. I actually did a cross-country tour that I completely booked Indy and just kind of really weird routing just based on anywhere I could sleep. It was called the Kindness of Strangers tour. So basically I would just go to where I knew people or where, I went to Nashville and spent a few days there and opened for a band and then ended up making friends with them and playing with them. I guess I opened for them in Knoxville, Tennessee, then played with them in Nashville. Just ended up just doing some kind of strange gigs all over the place and ended up back in LA.
It would be random acts of the Kindness of Strangers.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was great. It was a great experience.
Sure.
It was nice. But and it was really fun to do it all on my own. In terms of just, I love to drive with loud music. So there was there's a lot of that. It was fun.
That's cool. How long were you out for?
I think it was about 3 weeks. It took my time. It took my time. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
It was really fun, and then I did a 3-week tour of Australia after my last record came out, which was a few years ago. And for that, I actually had somebody else book it, and he was my tour manager, and that was really neat.
Same kind of just you, or did you bring a band?
Mostly, no, I didn't bring a band. Mostly it was just I think the whole time it was just me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did mostly solo acoustic kind of stuff.
That's cool. I've never been to Australia. That's
amazing.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. It's like, no, you have to go there. I'm like, okay, great. Well, bring me.
Yeah. No, I've been 3 times, only once touring, but it's I just love it. And the people, they're all beautiful,
right? And
they're very friendly, and
beautiful, friendly people.
Yeah, it doesn't suck.
Sounds horrible.
It doesn't.
I don't know if I could put up with that for very long. Could somebody yell at me, please? I just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's not Los Angeles.
Right. Beautiful people who are smug and rude cut you off in traffic because there's always traffic. So you've had a number of amazing experiences, and one of the first ones I have to ask you about, and this is something that you had mentioned in an email as a very non-rock and roll experience.
Oh, yes.
Although I have to tell you, of a lot of the things you listed here, I'm such a Paul Williams fan. It's ridiculous.
You are? He's the greatest guy ever.
Are you familiar with the movie Phantom of the Paradise?
Yeah, actually, they did a whole revival of it, and he asked me to audition for it.
Oh, really?
I didn't really get anywhere, but he was like, "You should audition for that."
He's right. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. That's where I sort of got bit by the Paul Williams bug. But then, really? Aside from all the hits that he's written, you remember the movie Bugsy Malone? It was like the gangster movie when Scott Baio was like 10.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh my God, it's amazing. And so, with all the gunfights, the machine guns shoot pies.
No, I definitely did not see that.
Jodie Foster's in it.
Oh, I love her.
He wrote all the music.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Okay. God.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much music he has written. It is of this world. I mean, I did this show with him in Las Vegas. Basically, he does a show every year in Vegas, and he brings out a different female singer to do the girl songs like Evergreen, which wasn't at all intimidating.
I'm sure not at all.
And
Right, so what I'm doing the Streisand thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
oh
cool.
my God, yeah. And
Who's got the Valium?
right? I wish I had known at the time, but that would have probably helped. And Woman in the Moon from the same movie. But then he does the rest of the show, and it's just hit after commercial after TV theme song, the Love Boat. And oh my God, it's unbelievable how many hit songs he's written.
Yeah.
And he just won another 1 or 2 Grammys this year?
For the whole thing with Daft Punk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an amazing guy.
And that whole thing, the reason Daft Punk contacted him is because their costumes are based on the Phantom of the Paradise mask. And that's where, and so they're huge fans of that movie. Yeah, that's the whole connect the dots there.
That's so cool. And, and he's been the president or chairman of the board of ASCAP for many years now, and being very consumed with all of that. So
Amazing.
It's absolutely incredible.
I was kind of disappointed when I found out that Daft Punk was a big fan of, they were fans of that, because I hate Daft Punk. I'm no, that's like finding out you have something in common with Mussolini. This is not good. No, I mean, their whole thing about, the big hit. My thought, if you have to stay up all night to get some, that's not getting lucky. That's getting desperate.
That's working.
Yeah, that's lucky my ass. So let's do this. I want to play one of your tracks. First one we're going to listen to. And is there a story behind this? We're going to play Canned Hunt.
Ah, yes.
What's a good lead in for this great song?
This is actually a song that started out originally. I have a dear friend named Jamie Green. She's an incredible singer-songwriter. And she wrote a song called Cold Storage. And it was all about, it was kind of an anti-President Bush song way back in the day. And just about the war, an anti-war song. It was very angry and heartfelt, and I loved it. And basically, it was this music. And Jamie and I have been friends for so many years. In fact, I'm playing at her birthday party Saturday night in Santa Barbara, and we sing together all the time. And she was saying, "Allie, I really want you to cover one of my songs. I want you to do one of my songs and make it happy and commercial." I was like, "Well, the song I really like is this really badass rock tune that you wrote, but I can't make it a positive song. It's an angry song. And I love it. That's why I love it so much." And I ended up writing a song about canned hunting, which is a practice of hunting that I find just abhorrent. It's basically hunting. I mean, I'm not into hunting at all anyway, but this is hunting animals that have no chance of escape. And it's trophy hunting, basically.
That's what dating was in the 80s. What are you talking about?
That's a whole other
Yes.
Oprah.
Yeah. No, so when you say they have no chance, so
like they're it can go anywhere from different kinds of deer in huge, multi-acre estates that have fences around them, and that the proprietor, basically you can pay to, and all kinds of politicians do this, all kinds of people. It's huge in Texas. It's huge in the United States.
Stunning.
Yeah, it's illegal in California, but but it can go from that anywhere from, normal game that would normally be hunted, but you go to where they feed. You go. It's very easy a lot of the time.
They don't tie them down or anything. Do they?
Sometimes they do, and sometimes it's retired circus animals, and you can pay 10 or 20 grand to shoot, an old lion or a tiger. And so this kind of activity, that was what inspired the song, just learning about all of this.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I think if you wanted to shoot a circus animal, you could really raise the bar and go do it at the circus.
Well, that would be a whole...
Yeah. Not only get the notoriety,
Yeah, this way they get to take home the actual animal, though. They get to take, it's, they want a head on the wall. It's that whole, I don't know. I think it's kind of macho, maybe. But,
maybe a little, you think?
It's not my thing. I'm kind of a liberal, peace-loving hippie type. But so this song was just, when I heard about this whole practice and industry, and it's not just here, it's in South Africa. It's huge in South Africa with lions. I wrote this song kind of from the perspective of an animal, and so that's what this song is about.
Well, cool. Let's play it. This is Canned Hunt by Allie Handel. Everybody Check this out. I've heard it. I happen to think it stomps.
What is canned hunting? Let's get the definition right. The cruel exploitation of wildlife.
Such a sweet pastoral scene, buried in the heartland. Green expanses deceiving, surrounded by the chain. They feed me everything I need to keep my coat shining, till they're ready to receive the guaranteed bounty. Ooh yeah, such a peaceful place, and you're paying to play, winner of the game. Born and raised in New York City, on the wrong side of the tracks. Confiscated when they found me, got in $1 million stash. They sold me into slavery, wanna be with the ring of fire. He got his kicks by whipping me into a frenzy. Ooh yeah, turning all your tricks, beat down all the wild ones. Yeah, master of the ring. Yeah. For all your profits and all your progress, your technology, where's your honor, your compassion, human decency? And how does my beauty provoke you to exploitation, degradation? And when will your cruelty choke you? Where's your reverence? Where's my justice? Beneath the jungle canopy, back in the homeland, majestic creatures roaming free, predators instead of prey. They live their lives out naturally, no bullet in the back. A coward's trophy they won't be. Know that privilege lies with me. Yeah, such a good sport. I'm home on the range where we aim to entertain. Yeah, ooh yeah. For all your profits and all your progress, your technology, where's your honor, your compassion, simple decency? And how does my beauty provoke you to exploitation, extermination? And when will your greed finally choke you? Where's your reverence? Where's the justice?
And once again, that was Canned Hunt by Allie Handel, a more than slightly rockin' song about nasty kinds of hunting. So really cool. Nice job. That's just like, it's funny. I mean, I've known you for so long, and clearly sort of a very kind of mild, demure sort of personality. And yet suddenly the stuff coming out of the speakers is like, oh, there's a boot in my face.
I like
How
that.
did that
I
happen?
like the dichotomy there.
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute, she was so passive. Suddenly she's Wonder Woman and she's beating me up. Oh my God.
Yeah, I like to do that with the acoustic shows I do too.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know, it's very, I really like any music I've always loved like really groovy, rhythmic kind of stuff. So I try to incorporate that into most of what I do. And,
Sure.
You know, I've recently gotten into more using some of the techniques that fingerstyle guitar players use, like beating on the guitar and
Right.
doing different kinds of stuff. It's kind of fun.
I do that too when it doesn't stay in tune. I
Well,
just beat the crap.
that won't help, actually.
Yeah, I noticed it doesn't help, but I feel so much better.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's why you play, right?
Yeah, right. It's like my hands are bleeding. Yeah, but I'm smiling. Check that
Oh,
out.
you know what? I once did a gig where I was playing somebody else's guitar. And I don't know if you've ever done this with acoustic guitar, but my index finger, I was playing it, and because I wasn't used to, I guess, the action of the strings or something, I just shredded
Yes.
my finger. And it was bleeding so bad. It was a really big gash. People went ape shit. They
Right.
love it when I'm bleeding. They love it if I like yell so badly with horrible technique that like it hurts.
Right.
They love that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you realize I can't do that all night, you know?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Look, we don't care if you won't be able to talk for a week. You can do
Right,
that. Please us.
exactly.
Hurt yourself for our amusement. Come on.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
tried to only do that at the end of the show, but that
Yeah.
that oh man, that was like that didn't heal for a week. It was disgusting.
No, I've done that too because it's like where you're holding your pick, and so the
Yeah.
finger starts banging on the strings.
Yes,
I've had
exactly.
many a show, and it's like, how many songs do we have left? Because I'm in pain.
Yeah.
You go over and you're like dunking your finger in your drink, going, "This will disinfect it."
Oh God. Maybe should have tried that? I don't know.
So, can I have a sip of that? I don't think you want to. Yeah. So, what has been one of the craziest gig experiences that you've had? I mean, just for one of your shows, is there like a standout one you're like, I can't believe that happened, or the show was so amazing? What?
Gosh. I'm trying to think of something really weird. Well, something that happens at almost every show that just is a highlight for me is that because I was watching my footage from my last big full band show, and that was it was really fun. But there's a point in pretty much every show I do where I get the whole audience to meow along with me. Actually, so my favorite time that
That's
this
awesome.
happened, it is really fun. So I'm a total cat freak. I call myself a crazy cat lady in waiting. I am married, and I do have only 2 cats. So I mean, I'm well below the legal limit.
Yes.
But someday I aspire to be a crazy cat lady. But I did a show in New York, and it was so fun. It was a very cold winter's night, and it was a little club, little like piano type venue. And I was playing next to the piano, and it was a full house. And I have this song Indy that was about my cat Indy, and he it was on my first record, Dirty Little Secret. I followed him around with a little digital recorder and got all his meows, and we put him in the mix. He was literally meowing on my record. And
Did you pay him?
I did not pay him, but we did have to pitch shift him a little bit at
Okay.
the very end.
You're like, you need to get some lessons, cat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I didn't train him or anything,
That's true,
so that
okay.
was pretty good. But so he has since passed away, unfortunately.
Oh.
But I make everybody meow in his stead now. But but back then, when I do the song, I make everybody meow along with me, and we're in the middle of this song, and everybody is just being awesome. And every time I say the word baby, they all go meow, and they're really loud and really obnoxious, just like he was. And all of a sudden, the door to the venue opens, and someone opens this door, and like there's a gust of cold air, just at the exact instant where everyone is just going meow, and the look on this person's face was just like, what the fuck did I just walk into? That is insane. It was so much fun. Everyone burst out laughing. I couldn't even finish the phrase.
Right? Did the person stay or they go, I'm sorry,
Oh
wrong
no,
room?
they stayed.
Yeah, I would think.
But the whole audience was laughing. It was great. It was
That's
really
awesome.
fun. Yeah, it was fun.
That's so cool. So, how the track that we just heard, full on studio? I know that you were saying some of the stuff was loops. How did you put all that together? 'Cause it sounds great.
Oh, thanks. That was on my last record, which basically. For that song, we had a live drummer. So we did tracks. We did that whole record in Pro Tools.
Mm-hmm.
My first record we actually did on tape, which was one of the last
I remember
records.
that.
I know. I'm glad I got to do one record on tape.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. But it's actually, it was, 1999 when we recorded that first record. So now I'm talking to my producer about, he was an engineer on that record, but now he's my producer. And he's like, yeah, we need to get that stuff onto digital, just in case you ever want to remix anything. We might have to bake it in the oven in order to
Right.
not lose it. It's like, God, was it that long ago? Oh, my God. But anyway, so for this song, so I actually, because it was my friend Jamie Green's recording and I wanted to use those badass funky loops, we got those digital files from her of the loops, and then we recorded live drums along with that, live bass, and then I overdubbed all of my guitars. I mean, there's got to be like, I don't know, 5 guitars on that song.
Always.
There's a lot of guitars on that song. And then the vocals as well. But yeah, it was all, it was at a studio called Phantom Vox, which just closed down, actually. It was an amazing studio in Hollywood, and it was owned by Robbie Rosa, which I don't know if you know who he is.
No, I don't.
He is a fascinating guy and a really cool artist himself. He goes by the artist named Draco, and he's actually won a lot of Latin Grammys.
Really?
Yeah, but what made him super, super well-known back in the day and able to buy this incredible studio and outfit it with the most amazing gear and tour the world is that, first of all, he was in Menudo with...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with
Ricky
Ricky
Martin.
Martin, and he co-wrote "Livin' La Vida Loca" with Ricky Martin and who was the songwriter who wrote that with them? Desmond Child.
Okay.
And what was that other? Another one of Ricky's huge hits. He co-wrote and sang with Ricky on several of those songs. In fact,
Wow.
Phantom Vox, the name of the studio, is in reference to him being quote unquote phantom vocalist on those songs.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I get
Yeah.
the reference.
Yeah. So, and it's really interesting, actually, at one of these music industry conferences, Desmond Child came in with these Pro Tools files and showed us, it was so cool, where Draco sang and where Ricky sang. He showed us the different, I mean, I'm assuming that Ricky knows that, that Desmond did this, but I mean, it was really cool to hear how they blended and everything. And yeah, it was neat. So anyway, I recorded that record at that studio. It was a really neat experience.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
So how many tracks are on that record?
10 songs, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And we will get to how people can find it and buy it later.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, always at the end of the show, it's like pimping time, pimping time, pimping time, pimping. So, just always is an interest for me. What is, like, for you? What is your guitar of choice? What is, I mean, in your arsenal, and something that maybe you want and don't have yet?
It's really weird. I am. We were kind of talking about this off air. I'm so not a guitar geek like
Right.
most guitar players. I'm not a gearhead so much. Like, I get a little overwhelmed. I know like what sounds I want, but I'm not super into the whole technical specs of everything.
Sure.
But luckily, I have my guitar guru, Bob DeMarco, actually helped me. I recorded all my guitars. I overdubbed them in his studio, and he has literally every guitar and every amp and every pedal known to mankind. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I'd be like, I want a kind of a Hendrixy sound for this. And he's like, okay, let's try this. We'd like search for 45 minutes for the right sound. And he's like, oh, let's try this boost pedal and let's try that. I'm like, okay.
Right.
And I wrote it all down, but I'm not such a gearhead. But actually, there's a few guitars that are kind of my go-tos. I have a Tele that Fender actually built for me that I love, and I modeled it after, I believe it was a 61 reissue that was one of Bob's that I played on the record, and I loved it so much that the custom shop made it for me. It was
That's cool.
great. Yeah, really neat maple neck, beautiful playing guitar.
See, you're a little geeky.
A little,
Yeah.
not much, not enough for it to be like really hang.
You're not escaping that.
but that's a great guitar. I really love it. And actually, there's a Jag reissue that is actually on the cover of my book, Guitar for Girls.
Okay, which we're going to talk about in a second.
And that actually debuted at my last show. I hadn't played it live, but since I used it for the photo shoot, it looks so cute, first of all, which I
Right.
normally am not into, or I wasn't. You know, when I was younger, I really took pride in the fact that I wasn't a girly girl type of guitar player. Like,
Right.
I didn't care what color the guitar was. It depended, what it sounded like was what mattered. And now I'm like, I want a glittery guitar. I could make it sound however I want, but I want one that's glittery. So I've kind of come into the girly thing very late into the game.
A late bloomer.
A little late bloomer. But yeah, so that's like a candy apple red Jag reissue, and that was a really cool guitar to use too. And then there's always my Les Paul that I just love. But It's funny. I'm married to a professional magician who also happens to be an incredible fingerstyle guitar player.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he can do all the Michael Hedges type stuff.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, it's insane. So he has these acoustic guitars that are worth like more than my car. So I play his guitars a lot of the time, and he kind of geeks out on all like the wood and all this kind of stuff. So I've learned a lot from him and kind of listening to the guitar players that he has been influenced by. So that's kind of a whole other side of things.
That's funny. I had no idea he was a musician at all. I just
he's
knew
an amazing. Yeah,
Really?
he started as a piano prodigy. Then he started learning magic as a kid and also guitar. And actually, he taught music as a kind of a quote unquote survival job, day gig for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. But now he
would make kids' trust funds disappear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now he plays mostly for fun, and sometimes it shows. He'll incorporate music and magic, but most of the time he does magic.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, because the manual dexterity those two things run hand in hand. No
Yes.
pun intended.
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
that makes total sense. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, I did date guitar players my whole life. I had to eventually marry one.
Have to be consistent.
I got to be
Yeah.
consistent.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's cool. How did you guys meet, by the way?
it was really kind of cool. I had lived in LA for a
It's turned
very
into an
long
Oprah show
time.
now.
So Oprah, the love of my life after so long of being so lonely. I had lived in Los Angeles for many years and had never been to the Magic Castle.
Right.
And so the Magic Castle, if for people who don't know or maybe don't live in LA, it's this private club for magicians and their guests, and it's literally a Victorian era castle in Hollywood. Have you been there?
Oh yeah, a few times. I love that place.
Yeah, so I'd never been there. My friend Ernie Halter, he's an amazing singer-songwriter, he had a party and invited a whole bunch of his friends to come with him. And I was supposed to have a date that night.
Right.
And the guy I was dating, my friends and I can now call him Devin number 2.
Sounds like a two-part story there.
Yeah, definitely. We don't need to get into that. But he basically had called me that week and basically said, I'm really just not that into you. And so I decided rather than go, I'm like, well, okay, well, then you better not come to the castle with me, whatever.
Right.
So I ended up bringing my friend Pauline. And so it was girls' night at the castle with our other friends. And so every time you go to the castle, someone has to sponsor you, someone who is a member. So the woman who sponsored our big group said, no matter what you do, you must see this magician, Andrew Goldenhirsch. And so we all said, okay, well, let's go first. And we went to see him. He was in the parlor of prestidigitation. and
Say that after 3 martinis.
Right, exactly. And he came out, and he was just this adorable guy with super long, curly hair. Totally looked like a musician, and turns out he was.
Yeah.
And started to do this incredible magic. He's brilliant. And he did this trick, and he made a joke about this DVD called Finger Fitness. Now, Finger Fitness was a DVD that came out aimed at guitar players in the early 90s. Okay, so he makes this joke about finger fitness and starts doing all these finger exercises and ends up doing them ridiculously fast that no one can actually follow along because it's insane.
Right.
It's this kind of video that I got as a guitar player. I don't know where I bought it, but I bought it. And I brought it home. I looked at it. I kind of tried to do it. And I was like, what the? There is no way I'll ever be able to do any of this. Andrew, of course, is the kind of person who took it and like devoured it and is like as good as the guy who put out the video. And in fact, they tour together sometimes.
Oh, wow.
promoting it. Yeah. So he makes this joke in his show about finger fitness, like the latest fitness craze sweeping the nation, maybe not as fast as Pilates, and I was like, oh my God, he's my soulmate. I'm the only one on planet Earth who knows what the hell he's talking about. Finger fitness, it's a real thing. So afterwards, I was like, oh, he's a guitar player. So I went up to meet him afterwards. And the guy in front of me in line was like, oh, you're a guitar player? I'm a guitar player too. And Andrew says to him, oh, we should jam sometime. So I was like, yes, I've got my in. And so I kind of said the same thing. I took his card and emailed him. And then, a couple weeks later, we were trading songs and talking for hours, and it was all very romantic.
It was quite literally magical.
It was magical. Still is.
That's awesome. No, Andrew's a great guy. So, take a look. we're gonna bump onto one more song. Then we're gonna come back and talk about the book that you did.
Okay.
So, but we're going to do, and I love the fact that you did this. This is your version of My Sharona, and everybody, this is a very cool arrangement. I was sort of expecting something a little more sort of
Teeny
down the
poppery?
line. No, not even that. Just a little more traditional for it, and it's not. It's far too cool to be that. So, once again, this is Ali Handel with her version of My Sharona. Check this out. Yeah, because that didn't rock.
I love that song.
That's
man.
that's a really a great arrangement and powerful. And once again, it's more. You should do another record and just call it "My Boot in Your Face."
I'll take that under consideration.
Yeah, just like. Oh, that's a great song. It hurt. Damn it, Allie. So you also, and I love the fact that you did this, you wrote a guitar method book that was released through Hal Leonard. And for anybody who doesn't, that's like sort of like the King James version of music book releases. It's just huge. And it's called Guitar for Girls. So now I have a question.
Yes.
What's the difference?
There is no difference. That's
Okay.
yeah. The question
You're
is,
just playing with the audience. I
no,
see.
the reality is Hal Leonard wanted a book called Guitar for Girls, and I was
Okay.
referred to them. I actually had to think about it for a while because as a very ardent feminist, I kind of have an issue with the whole, pink guitars for girls and, flower-shaped guitars for girls. That's why I'm endorsed by Fender and not maybe another kind of company that makes guitars just for girls.
Right.
I'm not really into that. However, they wanted a book like that, and I thought it was a great opportunity to get information that I thought was really important for girls and just aspiring singer-songwriters in general out there. And realizing that it would be young girls reading it, basically, it's a book that's really aimed towards aspiring singer-songwriters because unlike myself at age 12, who wanted to be Jimmy Page, most girls want to be Taylor Swift. They want to be
Right.
singer-songwriters. They don't want to be guitar heroes, and it's not the 80s anymore.
Son of a bitch.
So anyway, I wrote a book that uses songs all by female artists. Almost every single song was written by a woman as well, which to me is really important. I included songs written by some of my heroes like Ani DeFranco and Carole King, and just people that I really thought that girls should be exposed to.
Right.
And just included a lot of information, also kind of psychological tips, because I feel like I really held myself back a lot when I was young. I mean, dating guitar players instead of being a guitar player, you know, as a girl. And I think this is pretty common, more common maybe with young girls than with young boys. Often girls wait until they are sure of themselves, and they wait until they're very, very good or perfect, and they don't want to put themselves out there. And I don't think that's always a good thing. I think it's good professionally to not kind of, you know, put yourself
Right.
out there before you're ready. But I do think when you're developing, the only way you can develop a show and develop stage presence is to just to do things
Yeah,
you're terrified
You
of.
got to go do it. You have to
Yes.
not be afraid to stumble.
Right, and I was too afraid to stumble in front of people, so I really, you know, I quit playing several times. You know, when I was learning how to play lead guitar, I sucked. I mean, I sucked for a long time, and
We
I
all
couldn't-
did.
right? But I didn't realize that. I would listen to my favorite records, and coming up also in the late '80s, I mean, all my favorite records, it was all these people who play like Eddie Van Halen. I mean,
Right.
it's like I couldn't even fathom how someone could do that. It was so beyond my reach that I really felt discouraged rather than encouraged. I was really discouraged. So, you know, in this book, I really, you know, I wanted to put forth ideas like what one of my guitar teachers had told me that I thought was incredibly valuable, which was, you got to be willing to suck. You've got to just be willing to suck, play through it, hate the way you sound, and just keep playing. And eventually you're going to be really good. And it was really true for me, but, you know, I quit for several years, and it was very painful. You know, it was painful for me to go to other people's shows and not to be playing, and to
Sure.
watch people doing what I really wanted to do. And, you know, I was hoping to kind of engender kind of more positive feelings in just letting people know that you can really, I don't know, just believe in yourself more, and you don't have to be perfect in order to do something.
Sure.
So that was, you know, that was a lot of this stuff that I included in the book, as well as cool ways to play chords and, you know, ways to not sound like every other female singer-songwriter.
Right.
Which, you know, I really do think that playing an instrument is very important for female singer-songwriters, especially because I found that I myself have gotten so much more respect from my fellow musicians because I do know what the hell I'm talking about.
Sure.
And, you know, there are a lot of guys who frankly are kind of assholes, you know. and
What are you talking
they're
about?
Not, I don't know, Brian. No, but they're not to me because I can hang. But they are, you know, to my female singer-songwriter friends who don't play an instrument, they're not as well respected. And I think that sucks. And I don't want that to be the case for anybody. Because, you know, honestly, there are women who don't play an instrument and don't know anything about music theory, but they're brilliant writers. However, I never think knowledge is a bad thing. So that was
I
just
agree.
something I wanted to encourage.
Yeah. Have you found it, this is sort of a typical question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you found it difficult being female in this industry?
You know, I mean, it's hard for me to, you know, there's always people who have stereotypes and things
Sure.
like that. But that's no different from any industry. I mean, this industry and what I kind of was going for was definitely more, I was really going for something that was more male dominated. And I don't think when I was younger, kind of industry people, quote unquote, were really ready. You know, now there's like
Right.
Orianthi doing kind of what I always wanted to do, like kind of the chick play, you know, which I still do, but she did it on a more massive level with Michael Jackson and that kind of a
Right.
thing. You know,
And
now
Jennifer
it's much
Batten
more-
before her.
Yeah, yes, but Jennifer Batten was different. She
Yeah.
had a different vibe. Right? You know, Orianthi's much more feminine, and
Yeah.
you know, and that was kind of what I was going for. However, I never played up the sexiness element, and I think that did hurt me in a way. I don't regret that choice.
We're going to play
but-
the song "Pin Me Down" in a few minutes, and
well, that
don't
didn't
tell
come
me
out till
about
a few years ago. But no, but you know, that being said, I didn't. I always kind of dressed not to play up. You know, first of all, I don't have a model's body, so I can't play in heels. So like, I didn't do the kind of. But, you know,
I
there
can
are
play in
people-
heels,
well,
you can.
Well, I'm not willing to anymore.
Okay, well, there you go. That's funny. Neither am I.
Yeah, but that was kind of the thing that I didn't do. I never was in an all girl band. I actually have a new song that's kind of about that. You know, like, I wonder if that had any. You know, it's called "I Should Have Smoked More Pot." I should have smoked more pot, dropped out of high school, joined an all-girl band, you know.
Wait, so you've got a song called "I Should Have Smoked More Pot." There's another one that that you've got called "Thank God for Birth Control."
Oh, yes.
I should have smoked more pot. Thank God
These
for
are
birth
coming
control.
on the new records,
Yeah.
and you get what you settle for. That's another one. That's one of my favorites. That's a line from Thelma and Louise that I strongly believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. It's but so I didn't really play it up in that traditional way,
Right.
Wearing skin tight clothes, kind of the '80s way.
Yeah.
I was very anti that, to the point where I think I kind of shunned that kind of attention professionally. Although it's always there, and I certainly, tried to always look cute, and that did help me for sure.
Sure.
But I think, I think it kind of evens out, but definitely, couldn't help being
But you
a
haven't.
woman.
Well, yeah. I don't know with surgeries these days. Is anything
Well,
possible?
I guess.
But it's not something where you would necessarily say, "Oh, the music industry has been nothing but sexist and misogynistic to me." All that. I mean,
no,
because
I
you
wouldn't
hear
say
stories
that.
like that sometimes.
Yeah, well, and some people are like that, and that's just true in life.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, and they've gotten much better. But I do remember a time back, in the '90s when I went into Guitar Center and I wasn't sure what kind of strings I wanted, and so the guy said, "So, what kind of guitar does your boyfriend play?" And I was
God.
like, "Fuck you!" I mean, I didn't say that because I am too demure in real life, but oh man, I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Just because I'm not sure what kind of strings I want.
You're thinking, I
Please.
think I'd like some of those nines. I'd like to take one of them out and wrap it around your neck.
I would have.
Yeah.
I just put that into the songs though. I'm just like, thanks, that's okay. I think I'll go across the street to Sam Ash.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not so stupid over there.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
All right, so you've mentioned Jimmy Page as a major influence.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else is on the hit parade?
Well, I mean, Carole King, I love her
Yeah.
songwriting. I really love the 70s rock.
Mm-hmm.
I just Queen and I'm also love the Beatles, although I don't consider them a major influence in my songwriting.
It's interesting because I hear it in your music.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
love that. I'm actually right now, there's a place in Los Angeles called the Songwriting School of Los Angeles. It's an amazing place. It's actually located right in Burbank.
Really?
And there's a guy named Bill LaFleur who's one of
I know that name.
Yes, he's one of the top transcribers for Hal Leonard, actually.
Okay, that's where
he's
I know
a
that. All right.
Beatles expert, and he's teaching this class on composition and songwriting techniques of the Beatles. I have learned so much in the last 8 weeks. It's unbelievable.
I should check that
So
out.
it is. Yeah, he's going to be offering it again. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Wow.
It's so cool, and I'm learning so much. But anyway, but I do love them, and I did grow up listening to them.
You wanna know-
Aerosmith.
Yeah. You want an interesting thing? Who is a huge Beatles fan? Paul Gilbert.
Oh my gosh.
He's when I was going to MI, he would do these small classes,
Yeah.
and he was such a fan. He would play this really interesting chord progression, and he'd go, "Oh yeah, that's Eleanor Rigby backwards."
Oh wow, he would do them backwards.
Yeah, no, he
crazy.
talked about that he'd love to do Beatles and Todd Rundgren tunes, and he would literally learn them and then play them backwards and use the backwards versions to inspire songs he was writing.
That is interesting.
And then you go, wait, you mean the guy from Racer X who plays his guitar with a drill with picks on the end?
Okay, but I really did like Mr. Big.
Me too.
Its singer was Eric
Martin.
Whatever happened to him? His voice.
Oh my God. Well, he's back. Well, he's originally from the Bay Area.
Right.
In fact, one of my teachers, prior to the other teacher we both know, actually used to play with Eric. So
wow.
so he was originally was 415, then it was the Eric Martin band, and they had the
Yeah.
song "Sucker for a Pretty Face."
Yeah.
And
He had a pretty face.
yeah. But no, he's back up there doing more solo work.
Oh, I loved his voice.
He's
man.
one of my favorite vocalists.
Yeah,
ever.
he's incredible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great musicians in the Bay Area.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. But we moved away.
We moved away. I moved here because Guns N' Roses was here. So,
Really?
yes.
I moved here to get away from there.
Yeah, well, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I mean, I moved to LA to go to college because I was too, I moved here because Guns N' Roses was here, but I was too scared to actually do anything about it.
Right.
Other than go backstage to Guns N' Roses concerts. But I didn't, I wasn't playing at the time, but I was in college, and oh my gosh, I missed the whole real scene. It was a few years too late, but man,
Well, there's pictures out there somewhere.
Oh God.
All right, so we've got about 10 minutes left, and so we're going to use 4 minutes and 18 seconds of that to play this last track. And interesting thing that you refer to this as having a little more of your singer-songwriter side, and I hear it, and we'll talk about that for a second, is because it's just really cool. But this is I'll ask if there's a story after hearing it.
There's a story.
Yeah, no kidding. So this is a song called "Pin Me Down," once again by Ali Handel. Check this out. It's a bit of awesome.
Well, I thought I'd kick the habit the last time you left town. But now you're back. Temptation's gonna try to drag me down. You strut your stuff in front of me just to sell your merchandise. And it's taking all the strength I can muster up just to keep myself from buying. But we've been down that road too many times. And your body is the best drug that I know. Though it's time for me to go clean, and you don't love me, no. Pin me down and fill me up. I need just a little taste of another dose from your cup. Breathe you in, I'll blow your mind, and I promise I'll quit using you tomorrow. Well, last night was the last time your poison needle sticks me, and I feel the rush of you into my veins. But I can't take the shakes I feel every time that I come down. I need my fix, and it's getting hard to breathe. We've been down that road too many times, and you're craving me the way that I need you. Though it's time for you to go home, and you don't love me, no. Pin me down and fill me up. I need just a little taste of another dose from your cup. Breathe you in, I'll blow your mind, and I promise I'll quit using you tomorrow. I know that you're no good for me, but what's good for me don't feel as good as you. Though it's time for me to let go, I just can't say no. Pin me down and fill me up. I need just a little taste of another dose from your cup. Breathe you in, I'll blow your mind, and I promise I'll quit using you tomorrow. Pin me down and fill me up. I need just a little from your cup. I'll break you in, I'll wear you out, and I promise I'll quit using you tomorrow. Yeah, I swear I'll quit using you tomorrow.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time somebody told me that. Oh. So, again, that was Pin Me Down by Ali Handel off of her latest release called Make Your Move. So I'm curious, the first time that you played that song for Andrew, did he go, honey, who's that about?
He's not not a jealous type of guy, which is really good. So
What-
I told him the stories behind all the songs. They all have stories.
What is the story behind that one?
Oh, it's a long ago story.
Written by the Brothers Grimm.
Written about an ex-boyfriend of mine from high school, very dear friend. But we had one of those relationships where we broke up because there really was not a good reason we broke up. It's just we were both going to college,
Right.
And we were going to be so far away. You know, I was at Occidental College in Eagle Rock, and he was at UCLA.
What a distance.
Yeah, exactly. But you know,
You got a rock. I'll hit your window.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we would get together like every once in a while, and there was still this huge connection. But over the years, you know, we weren't in a relationship, but there was this connection.
Right.
Anyway, that the final time that we got together, I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I had to get all. And actually, no, it wasn't the final time I got together. I actually wrote. It was the final time that I had seen him, and I was like, I can't do this, and I didn't actually get with him. Instead, I wrote this lyric.
Gotcha.
So that I kind of, you know, put all that energy into the song.
It's a great track.
Thank you.
So let's see. We are unfortunately winding down, and so as I mentioned, this is the part where we pimp some more.
All right.
So and I always do this. I have so much enjoyed having this conversation that I completely forgot to like announce the phone number and hey, call in and all that kind of. Sorry,
Next
folks.
time.
Yeah, exactly. So where can people find you? Where can they find all of your music?
My website is the best place, alliehandle.com, and it's not spelled normally.
Yes, so let's make sure that is ALIHANDAL, alliehandle.com.
That's right.
And stuff on Facebook. Can they
I'm
follow you
on
on
Facebook.
Twitter?
They can follow me on Twitter. It's at alliehandle, same spelling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty easy to find, at least cyber.
Great. So stalkers,
medically.
apparently it's
No,
simple and easy.
No
So-
stalkers, please. I don't need stalkers.
But we buy records too. Look, I'll pay for the download. It'll be okay. That's cool. So, one of I think my biggest and probably maybe most important last question, given the quality and substance of the music that we played of yours tonight, what is the plan to get it heard by more people? Going after major distribution. Why is this not being heard more?
You know, if I knew the answer to that, I'd be doing exactly what
Okay.
needs to be done. I wish I knew the answer.
Because
I really don't. Thank you. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm really proud of it, but I just
Should be.
Yeah, thank you.
Pin Me Down just reeks of like radio. It's like
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm listening to that going, okay, so I can't imagine anybody hearing that on the radio and going,
I think maybe
gee, honey, that
it's-
sucks.
I don't have money for payola, maybe.
That could be it.
But yeah, I've been self-managed. I've had a couple different managers in the past who were really kind of not worth having as managers. Like
Right.
I knew more about the business than they did, unfortunately. So that being said, I've never had a really professional manager who really knew what to do, and that hasn't helped. I don't think.
That would tend not to.
Yeah. So I mean, but I don't know the answer.
Well, I think must endeavor to figure that out because I mean,
Yes.
just seriously, I mean,
Thank you.
having not heard the other 7 tracks off of once again, the release is called "Make Your Move." You can go to alliehandle.com and get yourself. Can they buy physical CDs? Do you
Yeah,
have,
they
do
can
you-
buy signed CDs. They can download stuff from iTunes. They can buy signed copies of the book off of my website as well as, and it's also in all major music stores as well.
So, can guys buy guitars for
They
them?
can, and
Okay.
I even sign it sometimes for them. You play like a girl. I had a fan request that, and I thought that was the cutest.
No,
thing
that's actually
ever.
great.
Yeah.
Well played. Well, we are down to our last 60 seconds. Well, not like actual last. It's
thank
not
God.
yeah, it's like, holy shit, he's Nostradamus. What happened? If I had known that, call Andrew quick. But once again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and bringing the music and bringing the stories and the information. And by all means, let me know when there's upcoming shows and things. And not only will I make sure that I get my ass out and be there, I can talk and mention and promote. Hey, you guys remember when Allie Handel was on? So this is where she's playing. So
Appreciate it.
yeah, so thank you so much, and a pleasure to see you as always. And we should make sure that it's not until the next NAMM show.
Yes,
Yeah, I'd be
definitely
like,
before then.
in the middle of a, how are you doing? I'm good. How are you? What did you say? I don't know. Tell the drummer to stop hitting the cymbal. Yeah, it's like that.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you walk out of there with like, like the tinnitus. It's like NAM tinnitus, like
Every year.
nemitis.
Yes.
Yeah, it's horrible. All right, everybody out there, thank you all so much for tuning in to Eat Crow. If everything goes according to plan, my guest next week will be Mr. Anthony Ferrante, the director of Sharknado and the upcoming Sharknado 2. So come back for that, and until then, drive dangerously, take risks. See ya.
The skies darken and the lights start to flutter. The clouds move in and shadows appear. A man dashes from behind a withering oak and disappears into the billows of mist. We shall say farewell for now, but the crow shall returneth, and bring back with him we know not. Now join me for some fine drinks at Sunset with the Wise Guys. The skies darken and the lights start to flutter.